Welcome to the Explainer. You know, whenever we talk about the modern artificial intelligence explosion, we're usually obsessed with the software side of things, right? The massive billion-parameter language models, the crazy futuristic applications. But there is a massive, hidden physical struggle happening right now, just behind the scenes. And it's a struggle of metal, electricity, and heavy infrastructure. So today, we are going to explore the actual physical foundation that makes AI possible and exactly how the industry is solving what's easily one of the most critical bottlenecks of our time.
So let's jump right into the big question on everyone's mind. Can our aging, legacy power grids actually survive the massive, relentless demands of the AI boom? Think about the incredibly high stakes involved in deploying these modern AI factories. We are basically taking the most cutting-edge, power-hungry technology on the planet and plugging it straight into century-old power infrastructure. Bridging that gap? Well, that requires some absolutely incredible feats of engineering.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the AI power bottleneck. Second, battery energy storage systems. Third, microcontrol with SuperCloud Composer. And finally, securing the smart grid.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the AI power bottleneck.
Think about the sheer contrast between our existing infrastructure and where we're heading today. On one hand, we have our legacy grids. Now, these were designed for predictable, steady, boring power consumption. But on the other hand, we have these new AI factories. And the massive influx of these facilities, which are just packed full of incredibly dense GPU clusters, has completely outpaced what our legacy grids can handle. The power requirements here are dynamic, they're massive, and they're incredibly demanding. It's literally like trying to run a high-speed bullet train on 19th century railroad tracks. It just doesn't work.
And here's the harsh reality. Without new power moderation options, grid bottlenecks will actively prevent AI data centers from succeeding. This isn't just some hypothetical worry. These power constraints are serious real-world roadblocks. If an AI campus cannot get a reliable, sustainable flow of power to support its fleet of GPUs, development absolutely halts in its tracks. No power, no AI. We desperately need active management solutions to keep things moving forward.
Which brings us to Section 2, Battery Energy Storage Systems.
So how do we fix this? Enter Supermicro's Battery Energy Storage Systems, or BESS for short. These offer some massive mechanical and financial benefits to help stabilize those unpredictable energy loads. Operationally, they start with a completely safety-first approach. We're talking patented battery cell technology with cell-level management and multi-layer fire barriers to really mitigate any risks. Then, you've got an advanced, liquid-cooled, high-density design that supercharges energy efficiency. But for a grid manager, the cost-effective utilization and zero downtime backup are the real game changers. Basically, these batteries store excess energy during quiet slack periods and then instantly discharge it on demand when the grid gets overloaded. The backup switching ensures operations never skip a beat, helping maintain total stability even during major grid events.
To really wrap your head around the physical scale of a typical deployment, just keep the number 80 in mind. These battery energy storage systems aren't just sitting quietly in a server closet. A typical solution for a high-density cluster actually involves 4 of these units positioned back-to-back to form a single quad. And a standard configuration might have 20 of these quads. That means 80 individual, massive units in total, organized in rows and columns, and completely surrounded by heavy-duty transformers just to handle the load.
Picture this. You've got an entire power yard made up of those 80 units, and its sole purpose is just to support a single AI factory that is 50 meters long. Visualizing that sheer physical real estate, the space required just to buffer and power a modern AI campus, it really drives the point home, doesn't it? We're talking about a massive industrial-scale operation just to keep the computers running smoothly.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit. Section 3, Microcontrol with SuperCloud Composer. At the absolute heart of all this microcontrol is a platform called SuperCloud Composer. It's a mature, proven piece of software installed on dedicated, redundant servers right there on the physical campus, and it manages thousands of individual assets. It is constantly monitoring the entire ecosystem, and I mean scaling all the way from those ton-heavy battery systems out in the yard straight down to the individual network cards inside the servers. It gives technical staff live power status, time-based pricing, and perfectly scalable lifecycle management.
Now, this microcontrol happens in a really neat, cascading flow. First off, SuperCloud Composer monitors the overall performance of the entire AI factory. Second, if there's a peak load event, it can target something as specific as an 8-node cluster of servers. And third, it goes even deeper. It can actually cap power right at the individual GPU card level.
It's wild. This cascading flow allows the software to precisely shave those peak loads and carefully govern power allocation under real-world, high-stress conditions.
The real secret sauce here is this concept. Maintain the workload by slowing it down by just a fraction. By making tiny, microscopic reductions in power across tens of thousands of individual GPUs, the system ends up saving a massive amount of power across the whole campus. It literally prevents the system from crashing. It keeps the workload alive while simultaneously giving grid managers the breathing room they need to ride out dangerous edge case conditions without losing grid stability. Honestly, it's an incredibly elegant solution.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 4, Securing the Smart Grid.
Obviously, when you're managing power down to the actual silicon, security has to be ironclad. The solution utilizes Intel Trust Domain Extensions, or TDX. Because AI workloads are growing, not just in complexity but in extreme sensitivity, there's immense pressure to ensure data confidentiality right alongside grid performance. Intel TDX provides hardware-based security for what's known as confidential computing. This basically gives us peace of mind that while Supermicro systems are actively managing the power infrastructure, the highly sensitive AI workloads and the telemetry data are completely protected while they're being used.
Furthermore, what's really cool is how interoperable this all is. Leveraging open standards is a huge advantage. SuperCloud Composer doesn't just lock up and hold on to this secure data. It uses open standards to communicate state and events downstream. For instance, it can automatically send redfish messages directly to management platforms like ServiceNow. This means the human IT staff and field engineers can seamlessly track, manage, and service all this equipment based on real-time, automated telemetry. Let's zoom back out to the macro level for a second to summarize everything we've talked about today. On the customer side, so the AI campus, the software and battery systems work hand in hand to cap server power and shave those crazy peak loads. And this smoothing of power demand on the customer side directly translates into massive benefits on the provider side. The grid manager gains predictive, proactive energy management and greatly enhanced grid stability. It is this perfectly tailored, symbiotic relationship that finally solves the AI infrastructure bottleneck.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Now that we actually have the tools, scaling from massive battery power yards all the way down to microscopic, secure software, to actively moderate AI's massive physical footprint, what does the future of sustainable AI infrastructure actually look like? We are no longer limited by the rigid constraints of our legacy grids. We are actively engineering our way into the next era of computing. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this provided a clear picture of the unseen physical systems that are powering the AI boom.